You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. Now, this video, I want to talk a little bit about CGI and Suitmation. This was a big debate on the Nation Facebook page the other night, and I kind of, and it got pretty heated. Some people got pretty heated. Some people had very strong opinions, and sometimes when you have a group of people with strong opinions that don't understand somebody else's view, that's when you get an argument, because it's almost like one person can't comprehend how the other person sees or feels the way they feel. And even though we can all sit here and remember, hey, you know, this person has a right to feel the way they feel, we're not perfect. We're always sometimes just going to break that rule and question. But sometimes things can get a little bit uglier than they need to get. And it got to the point that I actually had to remove the post. I mean, I was like, all right, this is enough. Let's just kill this whole conversation. And I gave it some thought, you know, because I kind of wanted to come on here and just make my case, because I grew up watching these movies in the 70s. Okay, I started watching Godzilla when I was like 2 years old. And while I can't remember anything from 2, 3, 4, 5, once I hit about 6 years, I can still recall some stuff from when I was 6 or 7. And the point of the matter is that Suitmation or Suit Motion, whatever you want to call it, and CGI are both wonderful, talent-driven crafts. To do a suit, these men back in those days, man, had to get in these 20, 30, 40, 50-pound suits for God knows how many hours a day, probably up to 16 hours a day, because sometimes that's how these people work. In the suit for, you know, and maybe not 16 hours straight. You know, obviously they get breaks and stuff like that, drink water. But for the most part, they have the suit on for a long period of time. And in between takes, they're running around, punching, kicking, rolling, falling, getting up, you know, falling back down. I mean, there is no amount of, you can't give any more respect than you can. I mean, there's just, it's such a tough craft. And I've never done it, but I can only imagine. You know, a prime example is if you go to like a theme park where they have these people dressed up as, you know, or even for my daughter's 2nd birthday, I got her a Minnie Mouse person to come here dressed up as Minnie Mouse, and the lady who was dressed up as Minnie Mouse within a couple of seconds was breaking a sweat. The damn headpiece was heavy as shit. So I can only imagine what these guys went through. Now, in the case for CGI, you know, they do craft. Their craft is very different from Suit Motion. There were some people who said on the Nation Facebook page that CGI is replacing other people's jobs. Well, that's not true. The amount of people it takes to make some of the movies we see these days, and the amount of time it takes to put in the detail that we see, is astronomical. Okay, if anything, that's why it costs so much more. I mean, look at the budget for a Suitmation, a suit movie with Godzilla from, you know, like around the 2000s, maybe Godzilla 2000, Godzilla 2004, versus a movie of that same year using CGI. I mean, the budget is way different. Now, the thing of it is that another thing people were saying was like, well, on one hand, CGI looks so fake. On the other hand, suits look so fake. Well, hello, guess what? They're both fake. That's why they look fake. You're not going to get perfect picture realism in a movie, especially now with high definition. I mean, I don't know about some of you guys, but some of the movies where that I watch in the theaters are in high definition or 4K. You know, and then obviously if you have obviously an HD TV and a Blu-ray player, I mean, we've all seen that wonderful, clear-cut picture that makes everything look fake because it's such a high definition. So it's not going to look real. It'll never look real because it's not. It's fake. It's generated images. So you're always going to see some, you know, and yeah, there's some movies that do it better than others, and there's some movies that don't do it as good as others. But the fact of the matter is that either way, there is at least a sense of realism when you're watching it. Now, unfortunately, suitmation is a dying art, and I don't want to say it's dying out. I'm not saying that, because obviously there's still some kaiju movies being made in Japan. I'm sure that with the success of Godzilla, Toho might take another stab at a movie, and I'm pretty sure they'll use suitmation. And you know what? We'll all be the first one to go see it. But you're never going to convey the kind of reality that CGI will. You're just not. And it's unfortunate, because as a growing boy, that's what I love too. That's what I grew up with. It's very nostalgic. But I can't allow my nostalgia to blind me from the fact that, on one hand, the CGI, just looks more real. You get CGI monsters or CGI, cartoons or whatever. Well, I shouldn't say cartoons. That's animation, but I'm off course on that one. But the point I'm trying to make is this: the rubber suit thing it's a great craft. It's a great craft, and it's not a dead craft, but it's not popular here in the States. It's not. If people want, I hear a lot of people say this, whether it's on a Facebook page, whether it's on a forum, that they want Godzilla to succeed. They want Godzilla to have, a future. They want it to be revitalized. They don't want this movie to be it. The fact of the matter is, unless you're willing to just accept what Toho does, which some people are, if you want it to be like it is now, this great feeling, this hypeness, the trailers, the TV spots, and this and that, you got to kind of embrace the CGI, because nobody here in the States are going to watch a rubber suit. And if you want Godzilla to be taken seriously, or any other kaiju for that matter, here in the States, you're going to have to get the rubber suits got to go. They have to. Nobody will take them seriously. Us as hardcore fans will always appreciate it, but I'm a realist. As much as I love the suits, I'm a realist. That's just not the way anymore. And a prime example is this. In 1998, you had Godzilla 98, right? Zilla, or Gino, whatever you want to call him. And then in 2000, you had Godzilla 2000, okay? We have one that we adore and one that most people still despise. Guys, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Godzilla 2000, when it came out in the theaters in the year 2000, did about $10 million. Godzilla 98, as much as people hate it and this and that, did what, 300 million? A little wonder, or a little give or take a couple of million. I mean, what else? What other proof do you need? Now, if you take Godzilla 2000 and you make that a CGI movie with a little bit more realism and obviously some American actors, that does play a role. I'll admit that, but not to the point where it's gonna just get pancaked by Zilla in the States. But if you were to make it a CGI movie with a CGI suit, I bet you would have done a lot better. Would have done a lot better. Maybe not as good as maybe this one's gonna do, but it's just they're both excellent, and they're both excellent crafts. But remember one thing too: there's also something out there called motion capture. Motion capture. Andy Serkis is probably one of the best veterans of motion capture. He's done King Kong, he's done Gollum, he's done tons of work. I think he's also doing some for Godzilla movie. I think he's done some motion capture. Guys, that is basically the best of both worlds. That is CGI with suitmation without the person going through the tough labor of wearing the suit. A lot of people said, well, there were some people out there who said, I've heard this, and this is random stuff I've heard either on forums, but one of the big ones I remember is a couple of people saying how you don't get the realism in a CGI Godzilla moving that you would in a suit, which I completely disagree. I mean, it's only taken me a couple of the trailers and a TV spot worth of Godzilla to know that that's not true. I mean, I've seen these movies tons of times, and again, I'm not taking anything away from the suits. I'm just being honest here. You cannot convey the kind of movement in a bulky suit like that than you could if you're doing the same movements with motion capture. You put a man in the suit versus a man in motion capture who's going to convey the CGI end result. I guarantee you the man without the suit is going to be able to move more, is going to be more mobile and more agile without wearing the suit. So that to me is a bogus argument as well. That to me is just being very biased and not looking at things from an objective standpoint. Suit motion is, or suitmation, however way you want to put it, is a great craft. It is. And to be honest, guys, it still exists. It still exists in Japan. It exists here, like I said, with motion capture. Motion capture is a form of suitmation, just without wearing the heavy, rugged suit. You still portray the Godzilla or whatever other kaiju you can think of on the screen, but you don't have to go through the tough labor of wearing the suit. And finally, to people out there who think that jobs are at stake for people who used to do like the older stuff, like animatronics and puppets, like the some of the Alien stuff, or even Underworld utilize, which is a more recent film, utilize some sort of animatronics puppeteering for the werewolves. Those people are not out of a job. A lot of them still do that kind of work, but many of them have just evolved with the industry because they love the industry that much. They have gone from doing that craft to still doing it to some smaller extent, but they have evolved into CGI. So, I mean, at the end of the day, both these art crafts, suitmation, CGI, motion capture, whatever, they're all very, very hard workers. They all put in a lot of time and a lot of effort to provide us with entertaining movies that, while not perfect, still are some incredible feats. And if nothing else, maybe every now and then we should just kind of appreciate that and not just criticize everything we see. Especially considering when none of us have ever fucking done it. You know what I mean? Like, none of us have ever done it. None of us have ever worn a suit. None of us have ever tried our hand at CGI. And for those of you who have tried your hand at CGI, you're obviously not good enough because you're watching me here on this video instead of working in Hollywood. Or you're like me, making a video instead of working in Hollywood, because I have tried my hand at CGI, and in a matter of 16 hours, excuse me, I managed to come up with a stick figure. Right. Very tough craft, guys. Either way, embrace the suit, embrace the CGI, embrace the motion capture, and enjoy the film. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Nation Facebook page.